number one is to bring snacks because it's going to be a long day. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be answering some questions that I've been asked on Instagram about my whole interview experience when getting my first teaching job. Let's get on with it because I have quite a few. Okay, the first question, which is huge and I think very helpful, is what kind of questions could you be asked at the interview and how can you best prepare? So, I'm not going to just sit here and tell you all the questions that you could possibly be answered, but I will write down a huge list of potential questions in the description bar, so make sure you give that a read. And I really recommend going through those questions and just writing some answers down, like getting your thoughts and your words out, because on the interview you have all these things that you want to say, but when you're asked and you haven't really prepared an answer, you just sort of get a bit stuck and you're like, oh, I have so many things to say but I don't know how to start, and it gets a bit too much. I'm not saying all the questions are going to be the same, but the questions are very similarly worded, especially the safeguarding question. So you kind of just have an answer that you can use all of them or slightly adapt based on the wording. Speaking of safeguarding, that is a question you will definitely be asked. It will probably sound similar to what would you do if a child discloses something to you, and you need to make sure you have read their policy prior to this, because you need to mention that first, of course, you cannot keep it a secret. You need to tell the child that you will pass on the information to whoever based on the policy, so that you can keep them safe. And then you need to listen, take them seriously, try not to talk too much to steer the conversation. You just need to just take it all in, basically. And then you need to follow the flow chart of the school and the policy, which will be to pass on the information to the safeguarding lead. That might be the head teacher or it might be someone else, so just make sure you read the policy. And they're the main points that you need to know. But yeah, the whole thing, can't keep it a secret, is a big one, so just make it very clear. You will probably be asked to reflect on the lesson that you've just taught, maybe what went well or what didn't go well, what would you do differently next time. Another huge question, because you're going to be an NQT, they might ask something about what would you do if something happens, and then okay, it's hard to explain, so I'll just give you an example. I was asked, what would you do if a parent came up to you and complained that you hadn't listened to their child read enough that week? I gave my answer, and then the follow-up question was, what if that answer's not good enough? What if they're still not happy? And you basically need to express that, well, I am only an NQT, so I'm gonna use my supportive colleagues to help me in situations like this. I'm still learning, and you seek the help, basically, and you maybe pass it on to the head teacher and they can help you with the situation. So just really be willing to not know everything. They want NQTs that know that they need to develop still, and they really appreciate the honesty. I'm basically just going to give you a huge list in the description bar, so have a little read, and if you have any further questions I will happily ramble to you over on Instagram or replying in the comments. Okay, the next question isn't really about the interview, but it's a good question. So, best advice you would give someone about to be an NQT? My biggest advice, and I think I will do a whole video on this, in the end of summer, discussing my whole year and tips that I have, but it would just be to be proactive and don't just wait for things to happen. Just really go out and find opportunities to develop as a practitioner. This is especially making the most of NQT time. It's hard to keep it separate from PPA, but don't just use it to plan. Go observe different teachers, different subjects that you're maybe not as strong as, team teach, do different things, that's going to help you. Maybe even go to other schools for inspiration. I'm not saying do so much that you can't handle it, because obviously the first thing you need to do is just focus on the teaching, but if you can and if you would like to, just try and do as much as you can to prove to them that you are being really proactive. Okay, the next question is, what key things do they look for in your interview lesson? The interview lesson can be really different depending on the school. I had one, it was like a 20-minute grammar lesson, and then the other interview was like a whole hour full-on lesson. The main thing is just responding to the needs of the pupils. As soon as you've been given all the information, for example, that you're teaching year 4 for 20 minutes doing grammar, reply to them, ask if there's any individual needs that you will need to support, for example, SEND or EAL, and having the initiative to email back and find out extra information is really liked by the school. So be sure to do that and then respond to their needs in your planning. Pupil progress, that's one of the main things. You need to actually show that they've learned something in your lesson. Whether it's a 20-minute lesson or an hour lesson, they need to have achieved something. So be concise and make sure it's not just you talking at them for so long, which can be hard because you're trying to show them what you're like as a teacher, and you're trying to show them how you can confidently stand in front of the class and do this and do that, but you basically just need to get the kids actively participating in the lesson because it is all about them and what they can do. Another little tip for your interview lesson is just spend 1 or 2 minutes at the very start to set the behaviour expectations. Introduce yourself and tell them how you're going to get their attention or something. For example, I told them what I would do if I needed to get their attention. I can't remember what I did, but basically if I need to bring your attention back, I might clap my hands and then you repeat after me. And then I gave them the opportunity to practice that. So I gave them a random question to talk to their partners, and then I did the thing. I'm pretty sure it was clapping, I have no idea. And they all practiced it and I was like, wow, you're amazing, you did it. And then the rest of that lesson, if I did that, they all immediately looked at me rather than just continued their work, and then I was panicking over behaviour management. The next question is tips for personal statement. I never know what to say or how to big myself up. And I know bigging yourself up is going to be so difficult, and when I look back at my old application it is so cringy, but you just have to do it. And they're completely fine with that. They want to know how great you are. They want to know why they should hire you. You need to make it really personalised to the school. So go on their website, identify things that you really value, that they do really appreciate, and then link that to how you can successfully contribute to that. Giving a lot of examples based on that is really good as well. For example, I've got my application from a year ago, and I thought I would get it up for you. Where did it go? Here we go. And what I said was, I appreciate how the school's curriculum is centred around termy topics. What I like about it. I know I will be able to successfully contribute to this with my level of creativity and appreciation for cross-curricular integration. How I can contribute, or how it links to me. And then example, I had previously planned from scratch and taught 75% of the week's lessons. Each term was focused around a class topic, and then I say I am very organised at doing this and blah blah blah. So yeah, I give an example of how I'm doing what they do and how I can contribute to that. The way I started my personal statement was a quote that really reflects my values as a teacher, and then I mentioned that I am an NQT. And I was like, even though I'm only just beginning my teaching career, I believe that I have the right values, enthusiasm and ambition to become an outstanding teacher. So you just got to big yourself up, and it's okay. But that 3-point structure will really help you just to get started. Okay, the next question is, what did you look for when looking around schools? So I really recommend going to visit the school before you apply. And then when you apply, you can kind of mention that, oh, when I came to visit the school, I really liked this, or I appreciated that. And it makes it more personalised, that you kind of just care a bit more because you went out of your way to visit the school. The things that I was looking for was kind of the vibe. and the atmosphere. When you walk into school, you kind of just know. One that I came in, it was very like dark and dingy. The teachers kind of looked very like reserved and sort of just kept to themselves. Whereas the one I'm at now, when I went, it was so lively and just bright, and everyone was really friendly, and it just looked lovely, and I just had a really good vibe from it. Similarly, the other teachers, so are they friendly and enthusiastic, or are they quiet and reserved? And what do you prefer? Like, you might just want to put your head down and get on with it, so that might be the school that you're looking for, but I'm the complete opposite. Another important thing for me was the space in the classroom. I saw a few different ones, some quite small and just a bit, I don't know, just you couldn't really do much with it. There's barely any space on the wall to put displays up. It'd been like really shrunk down because it had been split for 2 different classes, and it just wasn't for me. The one I'm at now, there's just bright windows, really spacious, lovely, like colourful and just clean and just nice. And that was something I really appreciated. Another thing, do you want 1 form entry? Do you want 2 form? Do you want even more? You might just want to do all the planning on yourself and have your own class and year group to yourself, or you might want to have that extra support and have like at least 2 form entry, so that there's 2 different year 1 classes that you can like fall back on each other and help each other plan. So just think about what you want, and then that's what you can look for in the school. One question to ask when you go visit the school is what support do they give NQTs? They like you answering that question, and it helps you out because some schools do more than others, and it's really important to see if that's enough for you. Next question is, how can I make myself stand out at an interview? I put a few points down. One is to bring a portfolio. Be right back, I'll get it. Okay, so this is not essential, but I recommend doing it. Maybe not this big, but having something that you can refer to in the interview, a bit more like personalised to you, is really great. So basically I have this like A3 folder thing, and inside are loads of pictures of lessons I teach, certificates, quotes, all this stuff. I'm not going to show it right now because the video will be too long, but I did a whole talk about it on my Instagram. I got a whole post if you want to go check that out. Having this in front of me in the interview allowed me to like refer to pictures and things as I'm talking about stuff, and it kind of just brought it all to life really, and they could see it rather than just take your word for it. Another tip is to dress to impress. Personally, if I'm wearing a suit and I'm feeling like a girl boss, I'm a lot more confident. For my interview, I wore this like girl suit. It was like white with black stripes. I feel like I really stood out because I was wearing this like big bold suit. And yeah, that's how to physically stand out at an interview. I just felt really confident and yeah, really professional, felt great. Another thing is to identify what you have that others don't, and really just embrace that and make it really explicit that you can bring that to the school and some others can't. This might be a certain experience that you've had, a certain course that you've done, maybe a specialism that you have, just bring it to the table and basically show them that you have that and others might not. The next question is, I have to prepare and teach a mini lesson, any tips? So I talked a little bit about it before, whether it's a little lesson or a long lesson, but especially when it's a small lesson, really make it as active as possible, because those 20 minutes or 30 minutes are going to go so quickly. Plan as many little activities for the children to do as possible, because if you are going to make it a longer input, for example, if it's like a grammar lesson, give little moments for children to quickly do an activity and then bring it back, and then do something else and bring it back. For example, you might have little like sorting activity at the table, I might have whiteboards out for them to do things, or like little envelopes of things to do. Just make it really active, and it kind of helps you out as well, because you don't have to stand and talk for too long. You can just, the kids can do all the work for you. Okay, this is the last question. How do you know if the school is right for you? This is hard because I guess you don't until you're really there, because when they are showing you around, it's all going to be like sprinkled with fairy dust and all very extra just to try and impress you. But you can normally just kind of tell. And I know that sounds very cliche, but when you walk into the school, you kind of get the vibe. You kind of feel what it's like as a school. You feel the community, and you can kind of know there. Also read the website about the ethos and the values, maybe the behaviour management policy. All these things can help you make that decision and see whether it kind of corresponds with your own values. I had a few different experiences when I was looking at schools, and the one I'm at currently, it was just so welcoming and everyone was friendly and they actually looked like they were like enjoying life and enjoying teaching, whereas others were just very, I don't know, very reserved and not very friendly. They kind of just got on with it, and I just sort of walked through the school awkwardly. So yeah, you can just tell, really. Just the most important thing is don't change your values to get a job, because there's going to be more jobs out there. Don't just get the first one because you're worried you're not going to get another one. Only apply for the ones that you really think you'll enjoy. Don't get one that's really far away either, because commuting is just a drag. Luckily mine's a 10-minute drive down the road. So just identify how far you're willing to travel, and remember you've got to do that twice a day for like the whole year. If you have any further questions, just either comment down below or head over to my Instagram. Good luck. Be confident. I know it's really hard when your hands are shaking, but just, you're a teacher. Act. We are all just actors. So act confident, and good luck with everything. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more teacher videos.